I have about 18 plays, I believe, of one Mr. Tyler Barron, a guy who a lot of people have compared to JFM in terms of the way they play, and I get it. They're both both like not tweeners because they're both well, actually JFM I would think is a guy who would play a little bit more interior than a guy like Tyler Barron, just because JFM was probably what 280. Maybe a little bit lighter, maybe a little bit heavier, but Tyler Barron's 260, so he's more of a guy who should play on the edge and flex inside sometimes. And we'll see in this review, and in the first play you see it right here, lacks explosion inside, but not defeat hands. Um, you know, he's slippery, and he has some good like looseness in his hips, and he has good bend. But he lacks a true explosion where he doesn't really get guys to open up because they're not really threatened by his speed. And we're seeing him from off the right side of the screen right here, number 9 throughout the review. And in terms of like setting it up, okay, he presses the edge a little bit. You hope to get the tackle to get onto his heels and trying to match you up the arc, but he just doesn't really have much explosion to again get guys uncomfortable. And then the secondarily with this rep specifically is when you're going to cross the guy's face, you got to get ready. You got to be ready for the hands. Um, Again, 2, 3 steps up the arc, tries to cross the face. When you go to cross the face, you got to be ready for the hands, obviously, because the hands are going to be the tackle's defense of you getting inside, and you have to defeat them, whether it be double swipes, rips, clubs, arm overs, whatever you got to do. So here again, you can you could see the lack of explosion, and then the lack of a plan to cross his face. Again, is the plan to just run through him? There's really not much here from Barron to try to get there. So the athleticism is interesting because he is loose and he is flexible, but he doesn't have any true like elite type of traits, and specifically with explosion, it's not really there with him. But we'll continue to watch. So Barron double swipe pressure to the left side of your screen right here. Okay. He does have a few good moves in terms of like double swipes and things like that. And obviously, he gets the pressure here. The quarterback is able to step up and get rid of the ball, which is almost a pick. Not necessarily his fault. Obviously, we want to finish the sack at the end of the day. That would be the best rep possible. But he gets a hand on here, so he gets a QB hit. Again, there's area to step up in, so the quarterback does, but we could see that he does have some good hand use at times. Now, the one thing I do want to see with Barron, in general from his game is I would like to see him set his rushes up better in terms of angles. When you're just going to rush at a straight angle like this and try to double swipe, it can work in college, and sometimes obviously not. But it's a thing where at the NFL level, you do want to set up guys with angles more. Take a step or two up the arc, even just one step to the interior to get the tackle to freeze his feet. Could be one step up the arc, 3 steps inside, whatever you want to do. You do want to threaten a little bit inside, instead of just rushing straight outside, unless you're just a pure speed rusher who could just beat a guy off the snap, then fine. But Barron's not that guy. So I do want to see him play with angles a little bit more. Nonetheless, here though, in terms of the hands, we do like that. With the double swipe, tight hands defeats both the tackle's hands, and then bends with a rip and almost gets there. Obviously, hits their quarterback. Quarterback can step up. So we see a rep of like, okay, some good there, some bad. Bad is being the angles, but the good being the hand usage and some of the bend there. Barron double swipe, quarterback hit. Number 9 right here on the edge again. He's a guy who could play, 2 point stance, 3 point stance, 4 point stance. He could play 5 tech. He could play 3. He could play 4. So he has some flexibility, which I'm sure the Jets like. And another rep here where he's rushing up the arc. There's really not much of playing with the angles here. The tackle is, I don't think he's the most explosive guy in the world, but the thing that he does, just like the last rep, is just he times the hands well. Right? He gets into that contact window. He gets into like that 2 yard gap right here. His hands are nice and on guard. He times the hands well of the tackle. Double swipe. Gets the hit on the quarterback, who gets rid of the ball quickly. So you can't blame him for that. But he clearly wins that rep, right? We see, for a guy who's 6'5", 260, he does bend pretty well, and he is pretty flexible. So that's a good part of his game. And gets the quarterback hit there. Okay. Sack versus tight end for Barron. All right. Your 9 tech right here. Standing over the tackle, over the tight end. So you got a 6 tech. Okay. So now it's a thing where, you're talking about a tight end just blocking just blocking him after a play action, and you're gonna want to see Dean to obviously win that rep 10 times out of 10. Pass rushing he does. I would say one of my things with Barron in his game is there are some times he gets stuck on tight end blocks in the run game a little bit too long. Pass game, I don't remember seeing that so much, but we'll see throughout the review. But initially, obviously, they all step inside. He matches. He gets his hand on, relatively decent leverage, extension. He gets his eyes into the exchange point of the quarterback, and the running back sees that it's a play action, and now it turns into a pass rush. So bull rushes him back, right? Starts to kind of torque him into the inside, which opens up the outside. Spins out of it, just kind of taking advantage of his natural momentum by shoving him inside. So now his body's already turning into a spin. So good job just taking advantage of his momentum. Again, torquing him inside to clear himself. Spin, get his hands up at the last second to deflect any ball that may be coming out from the quarterback. Wrap him up, take him down. Good sack by Barron. Leaping cross chop, bend and quarterback hit. Okay, number 9 here again. Right? So not playing too much with angles, but we do see some good hand usage as a pass rusher from Barron. So again, another situation where now he's rushing up the arc. He gets into that contact window of about, two, it could be anywhere from like 1.5 to 3 yards, depending on the rush, the angles, the length, etc. But somewhere between there, anticipates the tackle's punch, leaping cross chop, club, and then look at some of the bend. So what do we see there? We see ankle flexion for his body to be, as parallel as it is to the ground right here. For his ankle to stay attached to the ground, you need ankle flexion. You have a lot of guys who, they may be able to get into this position, but the problem is getting the foot to disassociate from the ankle, because the foot needs to be semi-flat here to the ground, or else you're going to slip. So a lot of guys will slip here, but he has good bend, he has good flexibility. Obviously, some good hand usage in terms of the leaping cross chop, which it's a good move. If you can time that well, you're leaping past not only obviously his hands, but you're leaping past his lower body. So if you do defeat those hands, now you're already able to bend, or turn the corner there. So good job there. Gets another hit on the Florida quarterback. So which looks like that was just a pick. I didn't actually see it, but looks like it was a pick. I was looking at Barron. But another good rush there, leaping cross shot for a hit. Verse read option. Barron's right here. Now he's on the left side of the offense instead of the right. So he has some flexibility in the sides he plays, which is good. Okay, and it's a good job. This is relatively simple one, but when you have this tackle move inside, you want to eliminate that cushion. He eliminates that cushion. He does a good job of eliminating the cushion while not also committing completely to it. Turns his hips, and his hips are pretty much splitting the difference of the exchange point between the running back and the quarterback, because he wants to obviously take the ball carrier. Right. And there's some guys who are so athletic, or just based on certain plays, whether they go run blitz or whatever, where they don't eliminate that cushion. They just attack the exchange point and they tackle both of these guys at the same time. That's not what happens here. So he does a good job of kind of just squaring up the exchange point, reading it. Quarterback takes the ball, and he makes a tackle. Now quarterback loses his balance. We want to watch lunging, right? Being nitpicky, but we do want to watch lunging there. But obviously a good play by Barron there. Okay. Barron tackle for loss. He's right here as a four-tech, head up with the right tackle. Okay. Tackle for loss. So we have this guard who's seemingly trying to reach block to reach block Barron on like an outside mid zone split. And Barron comes off the ball. We could see that he's gonna be probably exploding, if not just vertical, at least inside, just based on his outside foot right there. Gets vertical. When he gets vertical, he takes on the shoulder of the guard, looks into the backfield and realizes like, hey, this isn't a situation where he's wide enough where I have to really like try to be like try to force this back inside, or like play lever versus spill. And he realizes, okay, I can get underneath this block. I could get backside of this block, hands on. He's running. He's running like at an angle here, just in case the running back does try to go wide. So he does a good job cutting him off. Running back cuts the run back. He's able to get his hands on and make the tackle. So good job. Again, get his hands inside, get his eye, snap his eyes into the backfield, see the running back track, see the running back cutting it back, disengaging by just literally taking his hands off and making the tackle on the running back. One of the things that you do see from him is a good tackle radius. Again, the looseness, the flexibility, the length. He does have a good radius, which is good. Um, so they go with a little bit of like a radar type defense, whether that be on purpose or whether it be substitute late, whatever it may be. Barron is right here, in a stand up position, over and it looks like they may be doing it on even on purpose, at the snap here. But heads up over the center. Right. And this is where I kind of say, like, oh, JFM, like the JFM's a guy who would kind of win like this. And he does a better job with his angles there. So you see what he does here where he rushes to the right shoulder of the center. The center obviously then reacts and shuffles to his right, gets into that contact window, explosion off the left instep, club, arm over, defeats him. Now there's a tight end, which he just basically throws like a chicken wing, just kind of guards his chest, and realistically, again, being more nitpicky, which you should be because you're trying to not just evaluating, hey, him versus Southern Florida or South Florida. You're trying to say, okay, well, what if this is a tight end in the NFL or H-back in the NFL? Do want to guard your chest a little bit. You don't want to be so high here. The tight end just throws his shoulder into him like it's going to do something. So that's a piss poor block by the tight end. But with Barron, I do want to see his hands be more active here and reduce that shoulder a little bit because the NFL level, he probably gets popped here. Terrible block, but a good job in terms of setting the angles there. Can set that angle, rush towards him, stab to the right shoulder, get the hit on the quarterback. All right. All right, Baron bad play versus tight end have to shed quicker. This is one of the things I saw. He does tend to shed blocks late in the run game, and against tight ends I saw it quite a few times. From like, hey, you gotta dispatch this tight end a little bit quicker, get rid of him a little bit quicker. Can't allow yourself to be down blocked like that by a tight end. So down blocked by the tight end, you got the guard pulling. You have both guards pulling here, but when you see the combination